The boy came out of the door and shouted, "Who is disturbing here?" The Monkey King jumped down from the tree, stepped forward and bowed, saying, "Fairy boy, I am a disciple who is visiting the Tao and learning about immortality, and I dare not disturb you here." The fairy boy laughed and said, "Are you a disciple who is visiting the Tao?" The Monkey King said, "Yes." The boy said, "My master just got up from his bed and went to the platform to preach. Before he could tell the reason, he asked me to come out and open the door. He said, 'There is a cultivator outside. Please go and receive him. I guess it must be you.'" The Monkey King laughed and said, "It's me, it's me." The boy said, "Come in with me." The Monkey King straightened his clothes and followed the boy into the depths of the cave to see layer upon layer of deep pavilions and jade towers, entering and exiting pearl palaces and shell palaces, and countless quiet and secluded residences, all the way to the bottom of the jade terrace. He saw that Bodhi Patriarch was sitting on the stage, with 30 little fairy attendants standing on both sides of the stage. It is indeed the Great Awakening, golden immortal, has no stains, the Western wonderful appearance ancestor Bodhi, the 3 threes of no birth and no death, the whole energy and the whole spirit are infinitely compassionate, the emptiness and silence change naturally, and the true nature allows it to do so. The solemn body is as long-lived as the sky, and the great master of the enlightened mind has experienced many calamities. When the Monkey King saw him, he bowed down and kowtowed countless times, saying, "Master, Master, I, your disciple, sincerely pay my respects, sincerely pay my respects." The Grand Master said, "Where are you from? Tell me your hometown and name clearly, then I will bow again." The Monkey King said, "I am from the Water Curtain Cave in the Flower and Fruit Mountain in the Aole Kingdom of the Dongsheng Divine Continent." The Grand Master shouted, "Drive him out, he is a liar and a fraud. How can he cultivate the Tao?" The Monkey King kowtowed hurriedly and said, "I am speaking the truth, I am not lying." The Grand Master said, "If you are honest, why do you say Dongsheng Divine Continent? There are 2 oceans and a Nanshanbu continent between that place and me. How did you get here?" The Monkey King kowtowed and said, "My disciple has traveled across the oceans and the world for more than 10 years. I have just visited this place." The ancestor said, "Since you have come here gradually, it doesn't matter. What is your surname?" The Monkey King said again, "I have no gender. If someone scolds me, I will not be angry. If someone hits me, I will not be angry. I will just return the favor. I have no gender in my life." The ancestor said, "It is not this gender. What are your parents' surnames?" The Monkey King said, "I have no parents either." The ancestor said, "Since you have no parents, you must be born on a tree?" The Monkey King said, "Although I was not born on a tree, I grew up in a stone. I only remember that there was a fairy stone on the Flower and Fruit Mountain. When the stone broke in that year, I was born." The ancestor heard this and was secretly happy and said, "This is what was created by heaven and earth. Get up and walk around for me to see." The Monkey King jumped up and walked around twice. The master said with a smile, "Although your body is ugly, you look like a monkey eating pine cones. I will give you a surname based on your body. I mean, you will be named, the character without the animal radical is Gu. Gu means old, and Yu means yin. Old yin cannot nurture, so it is better to give you a surname. The character without the animal radical is Zi. Zi means a boy, and Shi means an infant. It fits the basic theory of infants. I will give you a surname Sun." The Monkey King was delighted when he heard this. He kowtowed and said, "Good, good, good. I know my surname today. I hope Master will be kind and give me a good name. Sad, since you have a surname, please give me a name so that I can call you by it." The master said, "There are 12 characters in my sect, and you are the 10th generation disciple." The Monkey King asked, "What are those 12 characters?" The master said, "They are Guang, Da, Zi, Hui, Zhen, Ru, Xing, Hai, Ying, Wu, Yuan, Ju. It's your turn, so it's the character Wu. How about giving you a Dharma name Sun Wukong?" The Monkey King laughed and said, "Good, good, good. From now on, you will be called Sun Wukong." It is just like this. There was no surname when the universe was first created, and Wukong is needed to break the stubborn void. After all, I don't know what kind of Tao fruit I will cultivate in the future, and I will listen to the next chapter to find out. The Monkey King was very happy to get his name. He bowed to Bodhi and thanked him. The master ordered everyone to lead Wukong out of the second gate and teach him how to sweep, answer, and move forward and backward. The immortals followed his orders and went out. Wukong went outside and bowed to the elder brothers. Then he arranged a sleeping place between the corridors. The next morning, he learned polite speech, talked about scriptures, practiced calligraphy, and burned incense with the elder brothers. He did this every day. In his spare time, he swept the floor, hoed the garden, planted flowers and trees, found firewood for the fire, and carried water for pulp. Everything he needed was prepared. He didn't realize that 6 or 7 years had passed in the cave. One day, the master sat on the altar and called all the immortals to start preaching the Great Way. It was really like this: the sky was full of flowers, and the ground was full of golden lotuses. He wonderfully expounded the 3 vehicles, and the subtle Dharma was complete. The slow shaking of the whisk sprayed pearls and jade, and the sound shook the 9 heavens. Talking about Taoism for a while, talking about Zen for a while, the 3 schools are in harmony. The word enlightenment is a sincere principle, guiding the unborn to realize the mysterious nature. Sun Wukong, who was listening nearby, was so happy that he scratched his ears and cheeks and smiled. He couldn't help dancing with his hands and feet. Suddenly, the master saw him and called Sun Wukong, saying, "Why are you dancing wildly in the class and not listening to me?" Wukong said, "I listened to the master's wonderful voice sincerely, and I was overwhelmed with joy, so I jumped up and down unconsciously. I hope the master will forgive me." The master said, "Since you know the wonderful voice, let me ask you, how long have you been in the cave?" Wukong said, "I was ignorant and didn't know how long it had been. I only remember that there was no fire under the stove, so I often went to the back of the mountain to collect firewood. I saw a mountain of good peach trees, and I ate peaches there 7 times. The master said, "That mountain is called Rotten Peach Mountain. Since you have eaten 7 times, it must have been 7 years. What do you want to learn from me now?" Wukong said, "Just respect the master's teachings." Teaching, just some Tao spirit, the disciple will learn. The master said, there are 360 side doors in the word Tao, and all the side doors have positive results. I wonder which one you are learning. Wukong said, "It depends on what you want." The disciple will listen to it wholeheartedly. The master said, "How about I teach you the way of the word shu?" Wukong said, "What do you mean by the word shu?" The master said, "In the word shu, there are some ways to ask the gods to help the spirits, ask for divination and cast yarrow, and know the principles of seeking good fortune and avoiding disaster." Wukong said, "Can you get immortality like this?" The master said, "No. No." Wukong said, "No. No." The master said again, "Teach you the way of the word liu, such as what?" Wukong asked again, "What is the meaning of the word liu?" The master said, "The word liu includes Confucianism, Buddhism, Taoism, Yin-Yang school, Mohism, medicine, reading scriptures, chanting Buddha, and worshipping saints." Wukong said, "Can you achieve immortality like this?" The master said, "If you want to live forever, it's like putting a pillar in the wall." Wukong said, "Master, I am an honest man and don't know how to speak in the market. What is meant by putting a pillar in the wall?" The master said, "When people build a house, they want it to be strong, so they put a pillar between the walls. One day, the building will collapse and it will decay." Wukong said, "According to this theory, it won't last long. Don't learn it. Don't learn it." The master said, "How about I teach you the way of the quiet school?" Wukong asked, "What is the true fruit of the quiet school?" The master said, "It means to rest and guard the grain, be quiet and do nothing, meditate and sit in meditation, abstain from speech and fast, or practice sleeping, or practice merit, and enter into meditation and seclusion." Wukong said, "Can this also lead to longevity?" The master said, "It's like kebabs at the head of the kiln." Wukong laughed and said, "Master is indeed a bit silly. Yixing said I can't speak in the market. What is kebabs at the head of the kiln?" The master said, "It's like the bricks and tiles at the head of the kiln. Although they have been formed, they have not been tempered by water and fire. Once it rains heavily, they will be ruined." Wukong said, "It won't last long. I won't learn it. I won't learn it." The master said, "How about I teach you the way of the movement gate?" Wukong said, "What about the way of the movement gate?" The master said, "This is to take action and make a difference. It is to absorb yin and replenish yang, climb the bow and step on the crossbow, rub the navel to pass the breath, use prescriptions, burn grass and beat the cauldron, add red lead, refine autumn stone, and take women's milk." Wukong said, "Can this also lead to immortality?" The master said, "This desire for immortality is like fishing for the moon in the water." Wukong said, "Master is here again. What is fishing for the moon in the water?" The master said, "The moon is in the sky, and there is a shadow in the water. Although you can see it, there is no place to touch it. In the end, it is just empty." Wukong said, "I won't learn it. I won't learn it." The master heard this and jumped off the high platform with a loud bang. Holding a ruler in his hand, he pointed at Wukong and said, "You monkey, you don't learn this and you don't learn that. What are you going to do?" He walked up to Wukong and hit him on the head 3 times. He put his hands behind his back, walked inside, closed the middle door, and left everyone behind. The audience was frightened and complained to Wukong, "You rascal monkey, you are so rude. The master taught you the way, why don't you learn it, but you talk back to the master? I don't know when he will come out after this offense." At this time, they all complained about him and despised him. Wukong was not angry at all, but just smiled. It turned out that the Monkey King had solved the mystery in the plate and kept it in his mind, so he did not compete with everyone, but just endured it in silence. The master hit him 3 times to teach him to be careful at 3 o'clock in the morning, put his hands behind his back, and walk inside. The master closed the middle door to teach him to enter from the back door and teach him the way in secret. That day, Wukong and others were happy and waited for the sky to get dark in front of the Sangsing Immortal Cave, anxious not to wait until night. When it was dusk, he went to bed with everyone else, pretended to close his eyes, and calmed his breath. There was no night watch in the mountain to pass the arrows, so he didn't know the time, so he just adjusted the air in and out of his nostrils. Around midnight, he got up quietly, put on his clothes, secretly opened the front door, hid from the crowd, walked out, and looked up. It was just that the moon is bright, the dew is cold, and the 8 poles are dust-free. Deep in the trees, birds are sleeping, and the water flows at the source. Flying fireflies scatter their shadows, and geese fly in a cloud-like pattern. It is exactly 3 o'clock in the morning, and I should visit Daojian. You see him take the old path to the back door, and you can see that the door is half open." Wukong said happily, "Master, you really pay attention to teaching me the Tao, so you open the door." He walked closer, stepped sideways into the door, and walked to the master's bed. He saw the master curled up and fell asleep facing inward. Wukong did not dare to disturb him and knelt in front of the bed. The master woke up not long after, stretched his legs, and chanted to himself, "Difficult, difficult, difficult. The Tao is the most mysterious. Don't take the golden elixir lightly. If you don't meet a wise man to pass on the secret, it's useless to talk about it. Your mouth is tired and your tongue is dry." Wukong called out, "Master, I have been kneeling here waiting for a long time." The master heard that the voice was Wukong, so he stood up, put on his clothes, sat cross-legged, and shouted, "You monkey! Why don't you go to sleep in the front, but come to my back?" Wukong said, "Master promised in front of the altar yesterday that you would teach me the truth from the back door at 3 o'clock in the morning, so he boldly bowed down at the foot of the master's couch." The master was very happy to hear this, and thought to himself, "This guy is indeed a man born in heaven and earth. Otherwise, how could he solve the mystery on my plate?" Wukong said, "There is no 6 ears here, only my disciple. I hope Master will be merciful and teach me the way to longevity. I will never forget your kindness." The master said, "Now that you have a chance, I am also happy to tell you. Since you know the mystery on the plate, you come closer and listen carefully, and I will teach you the wonderful way to longevity." Wukong kowtowed to thank him, washed his ears attentively, and knelt down at the foot of the couch.